Welcome, everyone. My name's Jordan. I'm an onboarding specialist at Easygenerator. Today's webinar is going to be all about transforming your PowerPoint and PDF trainings into interactive e-learnings. And what is on the agenda for today? Here's a bit of an overview. First, why should you choose e-learning when moving away from PowerPoint trainings or PDFs? And then what are some of the things that you should actually consider when you're moving towards e-learning? Um, what actually are your options for making this move? And finally, how can you do this within Easygenerator? I'll explain 3 possible ways for you to quickly convert your PowerPoint and PDF trainings into e-learning, but then I'll actually jump over into Easygenerator and show how it's actually done for a more practical hands-on approach. All right, so first I do want to talk about what it actually means to move online and why specifically you might want to choose e-learning when you do so. When you're moving from face-to-face trainings to the online environment, it can mean a few different things. It could, for example, mean that you do a live instructor-led training, such as a webinar on Zoom, on Teams, something like that. Essentially what we're doing right now today. It could also be a pre-recorded training session that you distribute to your learners via email, maybe send them a message on Slack or some other type of communication platform. But these two methods are still instructor-led. And so there is one third sort of method there, and that could be that you make your trainings available for learners to take in their own time. That's asynchronous learning. Asynchronous learning is led by the learners and it can be completed in their own time at their own pace. None of these methods are necessarily better than the others. However, today I'm really going to be focusing on moving towards asynchronous learning specifically. And in the current world, asynchronous learning is preferred by learners as it's more flexible and it offers better results. And e-learning courses are an example of asynchronous learning. With e-learning, learners can start and stop at their own pace. It's completely independent of other learners. It's completely independent of an instructor. And there's many benefits of moving to e-learning, which is actually what I'm going to discuss next. And so, yeah, here we have 6 reasons or 6 benefits that you might choose e-learning. First of all, time saving for the creator. When you compare it to face-to-face or instructor-led trainings, you only need to create an e-learning course once, and then from there you can make it available for everyone for potentially an unlimited amount of time. You don't need to offer the training over and over again like you would with a live training. And it also saves time because you don't have to, for example, re-record a lesson or send out another email if you make changes to a PowerPoint that you might be using. Updating the content or maintaining the content is also really fast and easy. In general, it's much faster to update content and share it with learners when you compare that to having to get everyone into a classroom or schedule an actual in-person session or a Teams meeting or something like that. Um, the e-learning courses also have greater accessibility or greater reach. So really your learners can access your courses on their own time. You don't need to offer those live trainings at maybe different times to reach learners in different time zones, but also learners that have different schedules. And you can also ensure that your learners are all engaged. And you can do that by including questions in the e-learning that require them to be engaged with the material, engage with the content. You can also include different types of interactive elements inside of an e-learning course that you may not be able to use in a PowerPoint, for example, or in a PDF. But also, unlike a pre-recorded video lecture or a static PowerPoint, those don't really have any way of measuring engagement or adding interactivity. You're also able to use different features such as question responses and certificates in order to provide learners acknowledgements of their achievements as they go through your e-learning courses and pass different courses and curriculums. And with the right e-learning authoring tool, you can gather valuable insights on your learner's performance. And this is something that you really just can't do if you're using something like a PowerPoint or a PDF. And with those, it's not even really possible to track if someone has opened the training, let alone seeing how well they understand the material. And there are some things that you uh, do need to consider when you move to e-learning as well. And I know it does sound a bit like I'm bashing PowerPoints and PDFs, but I'm really not trying to just do that. I'm actually using a PowerPoint right now, and PowerPoint does have its place, but it's not necessarily in training people remotely. PowerPoint is good for things like in-person presentations that are led by an instructor, situations where there is interactivity possible. So that interactivity could be amongst the learners, but it could also be amongst the learners and the instructor. PDFs can be really good for short one pages or summaries, just like the one that you'll see appear in the handout section in this webinar, all about how to convert your PowerPoints into interactive e-learnings. PowerPoints and PDFs are not necessarily or not good for pre-recorded training sessions. With those, you just have no interactivity at all. They're also not great to just send out to learners for them to review on their own. For that, you don't have a way of tracking the results or gaining any type of insights into areas that learners might be struggling with and may need additional support. And it is important to understand that simply moving your training materials online doesn't automatically make it better. There are things that you need to do to ensure that the learners are going to have a positive experience with your e-learnings. And those are the things that you can see here on the left side of the slide and the things that I've already sort of mentioned a bit. So adding interactivity, so that could be things like questions, including different types of media or voiceovers. Also trying to stimulate engagement by explaining the relevance, asking learners for their own inputs. You can also provide acknowledgements via the feedback or with certificates, and of course, gather insights from your courses. And those insights can really be used to update or revise your training strategy as well. And if you don't add some of these elements to your e-learnings, it may not necessarily be a positive experience for the learners. It really is more than just moving the material in the online environment. You really want to offer an experience that will lead to learning success. And now you're probably wondering, okay, what are my options? At Easygenerator, we provide a user-friendly and intuitive authoring tool that makes this process as seamless as possible. Within the tool, there's a few different ways that you can convert your existing PowerPoint or PDF trainings into interactive e-learnings. And those are what I'm going to walk through with you now. So first, I'm just going to give a bit of an explanation and or description, and then I'll actually jump into Easygenerator itself and show you how these all can be done. And so on the slide here, you have four different options. So the first one is to rethink your training and start from scratch. So this would really be, thinking about your existing presentations and how you can turn it into a course. You would really need to completely build the training from the ground up again. So you would open Easygenerator, you'd start from scratch, add brand new sections, learning objectives, create content blocks, add questions, really just using your PDF or your PowerPoint as a reference point, and really starting over in Easygenerator. And this will have the highest impact potential because you're really creating specifically for the remote learner instead of just adapting the PowerPoint by uploading it into the tool, for example. However, this is going to take the most amount of time. And so we're really trying to save time here. And so I'm really going to focus the rest of this presentation on the other three methods that you see on the slide. And so out of those three, the first is the PowerPoint importer. And this is the newest option. Easygenerator now has a PowerPoint importer tool that lets you upload a PowerPoint. That PowerPoint will then be converted into an e-learning in our platform. And from there, you can edit it, you can add additional content, rearrange the course as it's created, add questions, add interactivity, etc. You can also add your slides as images, which is number 3 on the slide here. And this is really creating or exporting your PowerPoint presentation as a set of images. So each slide will be converted into a single image, and then you could upload those into Easygenerator. And from there, you can add interactivity between your slides, on top of your slides. You can use different features like the hotspots. And it takes a bit more time than the PowerPoint importer, but it really is quite fast as well. And then the last method that you see on the slide here is to embed your entire slide deck or your entire PDF. This is maybe the fastest option. It takes about 5 or 10 seconds, as you'll see in just a few minutes. And what this is really uploading your entire PowerPoint or your entire PDF document into a content page within Easygenerator. And then from there, you can add additional content and interactivity before or after that PowerPoint or that PDF document. And so you could, for example, add some questions after the PowerPoint that they'll need to answer based on the material in that PowerPoint. And all of these options do have a high impact potential, but for you to really reach that potential, you do need to think about adding interactivity and making the course engaging. It is going beyond simply embedding the PowerPoint or importing it or adding the slides as images. You should do things like add questions, hotspots, learning objectives, etc. And so now I'm actually going to jump over to Easygenerator to show you how we would actually do this. So just give me one moment to open up my browser. All right, so I'm in Easygenerator now, and I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you how to use the PowerPoint importer. So that's the first method that I'm going to talk about. The PowerPoint importer is accessed when you're creating a new course. You'll see it's listed as the last option available. Essentially, the PowerPoint importer supports PPTX files, and it supports PowerPoints up to 100 megabytes and up to 100 slides. All you need to do is first upload it. So just give me 1 second to find my PowerPoints. This will automatically upload the PowerPoint as well as extract all of the assets. So the images, the videos, the audio files, the text, etc. And then it will create your course. And I will first just give you a bit of a walkthrough or an explanation as to what actually has happened here. At the top, this is the course title, and this is based on the file name of the PowerPoint. But this can be changed. So if you decide after the course is created that you need to rename it, no problem, that's still editable. It will then create a single section within Easygenerator, and each of your slides will be converted into a content page, as you can see here. The titles of these content pages are the same as the title of that PowerPoint slide. And just so we're all on the same page, I'll just quickly show you what the PowerPoint looks like that I actually uploaded here. So it is quite basic, so don't get too excited. So it just looks something like this, where I have my title slide, I have a bit of a table of contents, some text, a table, some images, and some text, and then a final image and text. And then on the Easygenerator side, what this looks like is something like this. So I'm just going to give this course a quick preview so we all can see what this is done without me doing any additional editing. So you'll see, for example, that it just has that placeholder title, section title, and no icon, so I'll need to fix that later. But within the section, this is my title slide. It doesn't necessarily make sense to keep this in an e-learning, so that's no problem. We can delete this. I have my table of contents. I have my text. I have a table. I have my slide with my images. This is needs to be adjusted just a bit to look as I want it to, but that's no problem. And then our last slide with an image and text. So now that everything is in Easygenerator, we can start actually, configuring this and constructing it a bit to be a bit better of an e-learning course. And so the first thing I might want to do here is actually give it the section a title. So I'll call this Introduction to Easygenerator. Also give this an icon by just clicking on this thumbnail here, and I will find my icon. So already making some steps to make this look a bit better. And now the first thing that we can do actually to make this interactive, more interactive, is simply add a learning objective. And I'm just going to paste one in here. You may be thinking to yourself, okay, how exactly is adding a learning objective making this interactive? So I'll give you an explanation. Whenever a learner is coming to your course or accessing your course, the first thing that they're going to see whenever they open up one of the sections, as you'll see in just a moment, is actually the learning objective. And so this is already going to prime them, give them an idea of what's expected of them, what they should be able to do at the end of this section of the course. The learning objectives also help you as an author properly structure your course, organize it in a way that makes sense. So that's the first thing that we can do. And then if I want to edit any of my content that's been added, we can quite easily open up any of my pages. And so, for example, this slide doesn't look exactly like it did in PowerPoint. So in PowerPoint, this was, two columns where I had the image and some text underneath it. First thing I'll want to do here is just resize these images. They're a bit too small. So I can just click on them and click this resize button. By doing that, it essentially makes it fill in all the available space. So I'll do that to both of these images. And then once that's done, I can edit this text a bit. So let's say I don't need these bullet points anymore, not so relevant, and I want to make this a bit larger. So I'll change the sizing of this text, etc. You can spend as much time as you want, of course, making this look as you want. And then I'll just move this image to be beneath this, because essentially this text is like the description or the title of this image. And so it looks a bit different than it did in the PowerPoint, but functionally it's the same. And if I wanted to add additional information or content to this page, maybe a video, for example, I can add whatever elements I think are relevant or necessary to the course this way. And you can do this with all the pages if you need to add additional content or edit things. Everything comes over in an editable format. So all of your text will be editable. If it's in a table, it will stay in a table. If it's bold, if it's italicized, and then all of this can be edited. It's not stuck, so to speak. Once you're happy with the content here, you might want to start adding some questions. Actually, one thing that I forgot about is this. This was the title slide. We don't really need this in our e-learning, so you know what? Let's just get rid of it. Just delete it. It's not so necessary here. But yeah, so now we can start adding some questions. Questions are a really great way to add interactivity to the course, but they're also a great way to have learners be able to self-assess as they go through the content to make sure that they understand what they're supposed to from the training. And I'll add a question by just dragging in this multiple choice question type from the side. I'll just drop it here, and then I will open this page up. And when you're creating a question, the first thing that you'll do is actually ask the question here at the top. If you wanted to add some extra information to the question, you could also add a question instruction here. But I'm just going to go ahead and provide my answer choices. And with the multiple choice question type, you just need to indicate which answers are correct by checking the boxes here. So maybe I'll also add check all that apply so that the learners know there are multiple answers involved. And then you can set up a question response if you'd like. So the question response is essentially feedback. This is what appears after people have submitted the correct answer or after they've submitted the incorrect answer. So to set this question response up, I'm first just going to drag in some text here and paste in a response. And then I'll do the same for if they get the question wrong, they'll get a bit of a different feedback. You could provide them with a hint here, for example, or you could just explain, what the correct answer is. And these responses are what will appear immediately after the learner answers the question. So if they get it right, they'll see this response. If they get it wrong, they'll see this response here. And yeah, if you wanted to add additional questions, you just drag those in as necessary. You can also add additional content if you want. And this is really how the PowerPoint importer works. If you did have situations where maybe you had a longer PowerPoint presentation, the one that I've used here is only about 6 slides. It may be necessary or it might be helpful to divide that course up into multiple sections. And you can do that by just dragging in an additional section from the left side. And from here, you can move your slides or your pages, I should say, between the sections by just clicking and dragging them like this. And then you could do this to help better structure it or organize it in a way that makes sense. Um, this is the first method of converting your PowerPoints into an e-learning using Easygenerator with the PowerPoint importer. If you want to learn more about the PowerPoint import function in Easygenerator, you can actually just schedule a call with one of our e-learning experts. You should see a button pop up on your screen to schedule that call, and you can use that time to ask the experts how you can use the PowerPoint importer to convert your courses, convert your PowerPoints into e-learnings in Easygenerator. Moving on to the second method of getting your PowerPoints into Easygenerator. This is actually going to start in PowerPoint, and that's to add your slides as images within Easygenerator. But before I do that, let me just move these pages back to where they go, and then I'll rename this section. Just so that we're staying a bit organized within our course. I'll just add in a content page. And so what I'm going to do is first open up my PowerPoint here. And within PowerPoint itself, you can export your presentation as a set of images. And you can do this by going to the File menu and then clicking Save As or Save a Copy. It just depends on how you have the file saved. But from this menu, you can actually, underneath the file name, change the file type. And so for images, you probably want to save it as a JPEG or a PNG. Those are both supported by Easygenerator. In this case, let's say I'll use PNG. And then after you click save, it will ask you if you want to export all of the slides or just the currently viewed slide. So I want to export my entire presentation. So I'm going to select all slides, but I've actually already done that. So I'm going to cancel out of this. What this does is actually create a folder on your computer like this. And in that folder, all of your slides will be in there, but they'll actually be images. So you'll see in just a moment that I'll have my slides here, but they're actually just PNG images. And now I'll move back over to Easygenerator, and from the Easygenerator side, I will simply open up my new content page, and you can add those slides directly by adding these images. So I'm just going to upload one of my slides here, just a moment. So let's go with this publishing slide, for example. And when you do that, you'll see here the whole slide has been added, and you can also, move it around. You can crop it and resize it and things like that. So for example, we have a title here on the slide, but we also have a title for the page. So we could just get rid of the title by just cropping it out, maybe changing this, getting it nicely oriented. And then at the top, maybe give this the title publishing. And then by doing that, we've essentially recreated or added that slide to Easygenerator, which you'll see here in just a moment by this preview. So here we are, we have that slide that we added. And of course, by doing this, you can also add additional slides to the same page. So you can continue to add additional image blocks. But another benefit of exporting your slides as images is that you can actually use those slides as hotspots. And if you haven't yet used our hotspot feature, it's found under the interactive elements here. And it's this hotspot image. You just would drop this into your course. And then I'll choose one of my slides. So let's say I want to do the slide with the table. You can create a hotspot or hotspots by just clicking and dragging like this. And what you're doing is you're creating an area on the image where if the learner hovers their mouse, additional information appears. So in this case, maybe you want to explain, what results tracking is. You could do that. And so then when the learner is navigating through your course, they come to this particular page that has this slide on it or has this hotspot on it. What they'll see is something like this. And by hovering their mouse over it, you get that additional information. This is a great way to extend the content of a slide that you've already created. Maybe you have a really beautiful infographic on one of your slides, or maybe a really nice chart, you can draw hotspots on top of those different types of designs and actually add additional information. So it's also making it interactive because the learner now has to move their mouse around on the image. They do have to interact directly with the page to get all of the content. And you can, of course, add multiple pages that have images on it. You can add within the pages themselves, you can add videos and other types of content mixed in with your slides that you've exported as images. But you can also add questions here as well. So you could have 1, 2, 3 pages of content, as many as you feel is good, and then maybe have a question or a couple of questions. So maybe I have 2 questions, and then from here I have another page with some more slides on it, maybe 2 pages, and then I have another question. So you really have that flexibility of being able to insert questions between individual slides, between sets of slides, etc. And another nice benefit of doing it this way is that you can also rearrange your slides. So if you create your course, you build the course like we've done now, but you decide, okay, actually, I want to move some of the pages around. You can easily just rearrange the pages by clicking and dragging, reordering it, restructuring it, uh, putting it in the order that makes the most sense to you or that makes you happy. So it's also possible here. And so this is the second method of getting your PowerPoints into Easygenerator. This is exporting your slides as images. This is also very quick. Once you've exported your PowerPoint, you can start adding them into the course using those image blocks or even using the hotspots. The final method that I'm going to discuss is simply embedding your entire PowerPoint or embedding your PDF into your course. This is maybe the fastest option I'm going to talk about. And this also, I'll start a new section for just so that we're consistent. So I'll say embed entire. So I just first need to add a content page. And within that page, Easygenerator has this document option that you'll see here on the left. And I will take this document and I will drag it into my content page. And there will be a placeholder when you first add this. It will just be this Easygenerator PDF, but you can, of course, replace this by just uploading a file here. And you can upload, this could be a PDF or a PowerPoint. So I'm actually just going to maybe do a PowerPoint first. And if you do this, it will just take a few moments to upload. You might want to give this page a title. So maybe here I'll call this forming PowerPoint e-learning. And for the learners that actually will access this in the course, what they'll be presented with is actually your entire PowerPoint. So your entire PowerPoint presentation will be embedded inside of the Easygenerator content page. And you'll see that in just a moment here. And so they can navigate through the entire presentation using these little arrows at the bottom. And they have the ability to download that. This on the left is the file name, so that will be visible in case, just make sure that you give it a relevant file name because they can see that. Um, this is, the fastest way to get your content into the tool, I think. But there is a file size limitation here, so 10 megabytes for your files. So if your PowerPoint has videos and things like that, and it's possible that it will be a bit too large to use this for. And same for PDFs, try to keep it under 10 megabytes. And yeah, the PDFs would look similar. So they would be able to view the PDF, print it, save it, etc., just like you can here with the PowerPoint. And with this, you can, of course, now go back and add questions. So maybe you want to add, a couple of questions after the PowerPoint. You could also add other types of content. So you could have your PowerPoint on this page, and then you have another page of content before or after it, maybe introducing the topic, or maybe with some additional information after the presentation. Um, you just have to keep in mind that if you embed a PowerPoint this way, you're not able to insert questions between the individual slides. So I wouldn't embed a PowerPoint that's like 50 slides long because you're not going to be able to add elements of interactivity before they get to the end of the presentation. So just maybe keep that in mind. These are the three methods of embedding your PowerPoints, or sorry, of converting your PowerPoints and PDFs into an e-learning within Easygenerator. Just a really quick recap or a summary. The first method was to use our PowerPoint importer. With this, you simply upload your PowerPoint presentation. That will convert your PowerPoint automatically into a set of content pages within Easygenerator, which is what we've done here. And from there, you can add changes, add interactivity, make it more engaging, insert questions, etc. The other method is to export your slides as a set of images. That's something that does begin on PowerPoint. You would just export your slides as a set of images and then add those images directly to Easygenerator here. And of course, you can insert questions between the pages, between the images or the slides. And then finally, you can embed your entire slide deck or PDF into a content page within Easygenerator. I also just want to point out as well that you don't necessarily have to just use one of these methods. So if there is a particular slide in your presentation that has a really nice design or a really nice layout, you may just want to export that single slide and embed that as an image within your larger course. So don't feel like you have to stick to only one or two of these methods. So these are the three ways that you can create interactive e-learnings from your PowerPoints or from your PDFs. If you want to learn more about Easygenerator as in general, or about any of the methods that I've talked about today, as I mentioned earlier, you can schedule a call with one of our experts who can help you define your strategy and figure out what the best course of action would be to get started with this process. And you can do that in the pop-up that you should see on your screen. And there's also going to be a handout that you can download, which is our ebook about how you can transform your PowerPoints into interactive e-learning. So feel free to give that a download and share it with your team and your colleagues to get some tips on how you can get started with this as well. And if you have any additional questions or further questions, you can still schedule a call with one of our experts for those as well. But thanks everyone, and have a great rest of your day.